I recorded some videos at the start of KBC Augusta tournament week. These are some of the interesting things that I saw at this beautiful course that is about 45 minutes drive from Fukuoka City. It's summertime and the course needs a bit of water when it doesn't rain because the course is right next to the ocean on sand dunes. On the first day of tournament week, on Monday, the first practice round, the greens got a double cut. The mowing height is 2.6 millimeters, which is a little bit less than an eighth of an inch, maybe less than 1/10 of an inch. These are Shibaura greens mowers, a Japanese equipment manufacturer, and the clipping volume is substantial. There are a lot of clippings. This chart shows the amount of clippings, and the daily average on the first practice round was higher than it has been in past years. The average was 36 milliliters per square meter. During the tournament in past years, it's often been around 10 milliliters per square meter. Now, the greens aren't the only thing that's growing a lot. After some recent rains, the rough is growing a lot too. And the rough was being trimmed at 8 centimeters or 80 millimeters at the start of tournament week. And that is a nice height. And you definitely don't want to hit your golf ball into the no-shiba rough. There's a lot of clippings that get blown up. Some Primo was applied to the greens on Monday of tournament week to make sure that the growth stays under control. And Primo is a very effective growth regulator. Andrew, it's been, what is this, your 10th tournament, 11th?
This will be the 10th.
Are you nervous?
Not quite as nervous as I was the first time.
So, how did the summer go?
Well, it was wet, and it was dry, and then we got a typhoon to come through to clear it up, and yeah, it's been a normal summer.
This is the view from the clubhouse, which is one of the better views. Now, there are some interesting soil profiles out there. These are Core green, Zoysia matrella, and on the practice putting green, you can see that there's some layers in the green, which is really interesting, but the roots just grow right through that. So you can be concerned about layers if they're causing a problem, but if the layers don't cause a problem, then it's just fine. The irrigation is applied just to keep the grass from wilting too much because the Zoysia can wilt easily on a sandy root zone when the heat and the light is high. Now, these are some old plugs that were taken in July for OM246 testing, total organic material testing, and these have grown in pretty nicely over the last month. This is on the second green. The total organic material in the top 2 centimeters on this green, when it was tested in July 1 month ago, was about 12%. So there's a good bit of organic material in these greens. And much of the work that I do at the tournament is checking the green speed, checking the firmness, checking the soil moisture. Hear that crunch? Zoysia greens have such stiff leaf blades that you can hear a crunch underfoot. And as you have that crunch underfoot, it happens because the leaf blades are so stiff. And when the leaf blades are so stiff, they create a lot of friction, a lot of resistance to ball roll. So Zoysia greens are quite interesting to manage and quite interesting to prepare for tournament conditions. I took a ride down the 15th hole, and this is a par 5. descending down the hill for your second shot, you can see a bit of lighter green color and then two different shades of green. That's Corai and Bermuda grass as I cruise down the fairway. And the main thing that we try to produce here is just good playing conditions, not trying to have a mono stand on the fairways. And then you get up to the greens that are cut down really short, and they have a different shade of green altogether. The practice rounds got underway, and the players are out there taking advantage of the fine weather to hit some putts and chips and a lot of shots. And I was watching the play especially because I wanted to see how the ball was reacting as the pros hit their shots and see how the ball reacts as it lands on the green. Remember, these greens have about 12% organic material, and they don't get cored and top dressed very much. So as the shots are hit into the greens, I want to make sure that the firmness levels are appropriate, that it's not too firm and not too soft. And based on what I saw on Monday of the practice rounds, as you can see in these videos, the ball was bouncing forward as it landed, but it was still stopping on the green if you hit a good shot. And if you hit slightly offline, then you might end up in a bunker. It's interesting to see how these greens don't get as soft as I would have expected, even without frequent sand top dressing and without too much organic matter removal. Zoysia is used on the greens. It works well because of the shade.
Oh yeah, I was quite worried because we had 18 holes that we dug out 60 centimeters wide, probably about 20 centimeters deep, filled it with sand, sodded it in February, March. So just keeping that wet throughout the summer was a big chore. But the guys worked hard, and yeah, it did come in all right. There's a couple spots out there that are a little bit weak, but for the most part, did all right.
So it's just the... Can you show me which part was sodded?
Yeah, so this is the green edge right here, and about right here is the collar, about 60 centimeters around. We also went about 3 meters in the approach area in front of the greens. So just kind of firm those up a little bit, get them cleaned up. But yeah, it turned out okay. A lot better than I expected.
Yeah, because I was here in June. It hadn't really started growing yet. So in the last 2 months, it's
Right.
really transformed.
Yeah, it's really knitted together.
Just a little bit more tidying up work to do and a bit more mowing, and then it will be time for the tournament rounds.